Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at something often overlooked, the absolutely vital and often heartbreaking role of animals in World War I.
It really is an enormous story. We're talking about roughly 9 million animals serving across the entire conflict. And you have to remember, World War I was this pivotal moment.
Right, a transition.
Exactly. A transition where warfare was becoming industrialized, but logistics, that often still moved at the pace of an animal, not a machine. These animals face the same horrors as the soldiers.
And it goes way beyond just horses, though we'll cover them. We're going to unpack some incredible stories, dogs, pigeons, even, believe it or not, slugs. Okay, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So starting with the horse. I mean, the numbers are just staggering. Maybe 5-6 million served.
At least. And they were vulnerable, especially on the Western Front, with machine guns, artillery.
Yeah, cavalry charges became almost suicidal.
Almost instantly. But their key role, their indispensable role, was logistics. Pulling huge artillery guns, ambulances, supply wagons through mud so deep that trucks just couldn't cope.
They were the only option sometimes.
Absolutely. And the scale of getting them there. The U.S. alone sent nearly 1 million horses overseas. Think about that journey.
That's massive.
And here's a stark fact. By 1917, some Allied commanders were actually saying, that losing a horse was tactically a bigger problem than losing a soldier.
Wow, because they're harder to replace.
Much harder to replace quickly in the field. It tells you everything about the strain on resources.
It really does. But horses were still used in combat sometimes. That famous Australian light horse charge at Beersheba in 1917.
Ah, yes. An incredible moment.
Galloping, 3 kilometers? Straight into machine gun fire using rifles and bayonets from horseback.
No.
Often called the last successful cavalry charge in history.
A truly remarkable, desperate action. And we shouldn't forget the mules and donkeys either.
Right.
Unsung heroes, especially in rough terrain.
Like Gallipoli.
Exactly like Gallipoli. You have the story of Private John Simpson, Kirkpatrick Jack Simpson, and his donkey.
Right, bringing wounded soldiers back.
Yeah, under constant fire, he'd ferry wounded men from the front line down to the beach. His donkey essentially became a walking ambulance, a real symbol of compassion amidst the horror, until he himself was killed.
Such bravery from both man and animal. Okay, so beyond transport, let's talk specialists. Dogs played a huge role, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. You had messenger dogs, guard dogs, but maybe most poignantly, the mercy dogs. The Sanitätshunde, the Germans called them.
Mercy dogs. What exactly did they do?
They were trained to move silently out into no man's land, often at night. They carried medical supplies in pouches. Sometimes they'd stay with fatally wounded soldiers, just providing comfort.
Just presence.
Or if the soldier was alive but couldn't move, the dog might take back a piece of his uniform, like a cap or a glove, to guide medics to him.
Incredible intelligence and bravery. And then there's the most famous one, right? Sergeant Stubby. Stubby. Yes, the American war dog. A Staffordshire Terrier mix, technically a stray who wandered into training camp.
And became the most decorated war dog in American history.
He really did. Served in 17 battles. His senses were amazing. He could detect incoming artillery shells before the humans could, and crucially, he learned to recognize the smell of mustard gas.
Giving his unit early warning.
Exactly. Saved countless lives, and the story goes he even caught a German spy. Apparently, he found the guy mapping Allied trenches, attacked him, and held him until U.S. soldiers arrived.
Whoa, wait.
Yep. He was even unofficially promoted to sergeant for that. A true legend.
It's just amazing. Okay, from dogs on the ground to heroes in the air. Pigeons. Carrier pigeons were still critical, weren't they?
Absolutely critical. Radio was unreliable. Field telephones lines were constantly cut by shelling. Pigeons were often the only way to get messages through. And some were genuine heroes, like Cher Ami.
Cher Ami.
That's the one from the Lost Battalion.
That's the one. Part of the U.S. Army's 77th Division, trapped, surrounded, taking friendly fire. They sent out several pigeons. All were shot down. Cher Ami was the last hope.
And he was hit too, wasn't he?
Grievously wounded. Shot through the breast, blinded in one eye, leg hanging by a tendon. But he kept flying. Delivered the message, "For heaven's sake, stop it!" Saved nearly 200 men.
Just unbelievable determination. He survived.
He did. They saved his leg. He was awarded the French Croix de Guerre. A true hero.
Amazing. And there were others too?
Oh, yes. The French had Le Vaillant, During the hellscape of Verdun, Fort Vaux was under siege, totally cut off.
Right.
Le Veillon was the last pigeon released. He carried the final desperate message. Relief is imperative. This is my last pigeon. He made it back, delivered the message, but died immediately from exhaustion and the gas fumes he'd flown through.
Oh, wow. Awarded the Legion of Honor, I think.
Posthumously, yes. The courage wasn't just human in that war.
Clearly not.
Yeah.
Okay, we've had the workhorses, the companions, the messengers. What about the really unexpected allies? Detection animals.
Well, canaries, famously. Used in mining, but also brought into the trenches.
Because they're sensitive to gas.
Much more so than humans, about 15 times more sensitive. If the canary collapsed, you knew poison gas was present, even if you couldn't smell it yet. Gave troops precious seconds to get masks on.
A fragile early warning system.
Exactly. But perhaps the most bizarre yet effective detectors. Slugs.
Slugs? Seriously? How on earth?
It sounds crazy, right? But an American scientist, Dr. Paul Barch, discovered they were incredibly sensitive to mustard gas, even tiny concentrations.
What would they do?
They'd visibly react before humans felt anything. They closed their breathing pores and sort of, well, compressed their bodies. It was a clear visual signal. Troops actually carried them into the trenches in makeshift containers. The Slug Brigade, they called them.
The Slug Brigade. That's one for the books. Incredible ingenuity.
It really shows the desperation, but also the adaptability, using literally anything available to survive.
So when you look at this whole picture, the sheer scale of animal use and loss, what was the lasting impact?
Well, the losses were immense. Britain, for instance, lost about 1 horse for every 2 men killed. That kind of statistic coming out after the war really hit home.
It must have caused a public outcry.
It absolutely did. It led to a massive shift in public awareness about animal suffering in war and beyond. It spurred huge improvements in veterinary medicine and care, and really helped fuel the modern animal welfare movement we know today.
A difficult legacy, but an important one.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you find these kinds of hidden histories fascinating, these quick deep dives into specific moments, you should definitely check out the Chunks Microlearning podcast.
That's right.
You can just download the Chunks Microlearning app, explore history bites like this anytime, anywhere. Just visit www.chunks.app. That's chunks.app.
It's worth thinking about, isn't it? Even as warfare was becoming terrifyingly mechanized, this reliance on everything from horses right down to slugs. What does that tell us?
About resilience, adaptation.
Maybe something about how life, in all its forms, finds ways to serve and endure, even in the absolute worst circumstances humans create. Something to mull over.
Definitely something to think about.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.